Hey everybody, it's Chris with Kajun in a Kayak. That's Kajun with a K, Kayak with a K. You know how we do. I wanted to come to you with this episode of the Kajun in a Kayak and talk to you about my experience yesterday fishing my very first tournament, the Winter Specktacular, S-P-E-C-K, Specktacular, targeting speckled trout through the Mobile Bay Kayak Fishing Association. Shout out to those guys for putting on a great tournament and organizing it. Well, the first thing I want to say is I want to talk to you about what I learned, what I'll do differently, and some of the stuff I used. So let me come off the top and say what you won't see in this video is a whole lot of footage of me catching fish. And that's not because I didn't catch fish, but I learned an important lesson about video, software, and hardware. If in a GoPro you decide to start doing this, don't go to Walmart and buy the cheapest SD card that will fit your GoPro. If in fact it's cheap for a reason. So I would go with the recommended or tried and true SD cards, not off-brand Walmart ones. But I did get enough to show you one catch and some pictures, and I'll put that later in the video. All right, we got another one on the board, little one. We'll take it, we'll take it. I mean, it'll get us on the board. So, lesson learned by me in this new endeavor of video blogging or vlogging. So, I want to start off by saying I had a great day. I enjoyed it, but man, it was cold. You know, late 20s, early 30s, it was cold, and then eventually creeped up into the 40s. But we launched around 5 a.m. and man, it was cold at launch. And cold weather fishing is hard work, by the way. So what did I learn about myself? Well, I learned that I fish fast, and I think that's a carryover from my bass fishing days. You know, it's hard to break old habits, but yesterday I learned that I have to slow down to catch fish in these cold waters, specifically these trout. This was only my second time targeting trout. The first time I ever went speckled trout fishing was with the Gulf Coast angling crew, Jeremiah, Sean, and Eric. Big shout out to those guys. They've taught me a lot. And that day specifically, I caught everything on top water. And you know, as well as I do, that'll spoil you when it comes to fishing. And so, you know, this was not going to happen top water fishing yesterday. I did try, I didn't get a bite. So Sean and I, and Jeremiah and Nick, we had a plan to fish together. Jeremiah knows I'm still mad at him, wink, wink, not really. Proud of him for his finish. We went to 2 different spots, and Sean and I fished a spot that we'd fished before. And we specifically pedaled all the way to a spot we knew they were, and fished along the way, of course. And we get to this spot where it was money. It was money last time, and I mean not hardly a bite. Not hardly a bite. Where we went, the water was extremely low. I don't know a lot about tides. I think I need to learn, but I don't know if it was out, in, whatever. And obviously it was out because it's much shallower than when we went before. So after a couple of hours, or 3, we decided let's head back and let's go somewhere else. About halfway on the way, I had been trolling, and so I hooked a trout about halfway and decided, hey, this is a 10, 12 foot hole. Let's focus on it. And I caught all my fish there for the day. So fished it out until we couldn't catch any more. Oddly enough, we were catching the fish. there were a few boats out trolling. And every time this one boat passed me, I'd catch a fish. So I told him, keep coming back and forth. But at some point, you know, the fish stopped biting and we moved on. And I'll show you my fish later. I was pleased with my finish. I finished in the top 10, I think 9th. But big shout out to the top 3. Nathan, what a machine he is. Shout out to him. I think it was his 4th time in a row winning this tournament. Check him out on Southern Salt Kayak Fishing on YouTube. Love his channel. Watched probably 5 hours of footage from him before I went yesterday. And Nathan's just a great guy, so support him where you can. And then Jeremiah, my God, what a showing for you, my friend. Super proud of you. Even though you shucked me early in the morning to go to that sweet spot you went to, I'm super proud of you, man. I kind of picked on him for all that fishing he did weeks leading up, but man, did it pay off for him. And then I think the guy's name who finished 3rd was Rusty. And man, it was a grind for those guys, and it was fun to watch. Again, I learned I fish fast. I also learned, man, fishing's better with friends. So Sean, big thank you for going with me and fishing together. Always a pleasure fishing with you and those guys. And man, it was a grind, and we battled, and what we got, we worked hard for. What else? Tournament fishing's a lot of fun, but it's also hard work. I think Drew, shout out to Drew and the Fever crew too, but big shout out to Drew because I didn't bring any snacks yesterday. That was a mistake. Won't happen again. Drew knows what I'm talking about. I saw a post where he said he always brings his snacks, and at some point around 3:30, 4 o'clock, my hunger overpowered my want to fish. So man, you tournament fish, be ready for a grind. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a grind. And then I want to talk about this app we used called Fishing Chaos. Shout out to those guys and to the Mobile Bay Kayak Fishing Association for using this app. Everything was done through the app. The sign up, you pay, your registration, all that. Submitting your catches right on the app, timestamps it, even checks. And listen, I'm new, so they had to correct 1 or 2, maybe 3 of my measurements because of angles and everything. I've learned to take multiple pictures from now on. And what a great experience it was using that app. There was a hiccup in the beginning regarding the token or the ticket we used to take pictures with. That's a video for another day about tickets and taking pictures. But man, they were right on it and gave us a token to use for our pictures. And I thought it was pretty smooth how it went. One of the great things about that app is you can see real time where you are, except for those people who sandbag and post their pictures late. But I believe also the time stamping is important too with regard to these tournaments, because if you submit the same size fish before someone else, I believe the time stamping comes into play about who will get a higher place finish or whose fish will count ahead. Anyway, great experience using that app, Fishing Chaos, or Fishing Chaos, I believe, yeah. My catches yesterday, they were hard. And I tried a lot of different ingredients and baits and you name it. I brought 4 rods, and each one I had rigged up to fish differently, different techniques, different baits. And yeah, it was tough. But I still had a great time fishing my first tournament. So what did I use? I want to talk about what I used. First of all, for cold weather fishing, you're on the water. I believe the wind was coming out of the north a lot of the times. But it seems like every time I go out in windy conditions kayak fishing, no matter if I'm going or coming, that wind is blowing in my face. You know, you're pedaling out, and the wind's in your face. You think, well, it'll be easier coming back. No, somehow the wind knows. And so yesterday was cold, so I layered. It's important in cold weather, whether you're hunting or fishing. I learned this from my dad. May he rest in peace. He was a big deer hunter. you layer clothes when you're hunting or fishing. And so I want to talk about the layers I use, just a couple of things. The first thing I did was I got waterproof socks. And I'm going to try to get this label for you. But Randy's Son, I got these off of Amazon, and they're waterproof socks. I am not nimble enough to hop off of a pier into my kayak. Inevitably, I'm going to step in water, and the water was cold. Waterproof socks saved me yesterday. Now, the boots I have are lace-up boots, and you wonder, well, Chris, why not just get some rubber boots? Well, I have a fused ankle, so boots are a no-go for me if they're not lace-up. My right ankle is fused into one position. It doesn't bend up or down. And if I can remember, I'll stick a picture of my x-rays. I have 2 plates in that, 24 screws and 2 pins in that ankle. So yeah, so my lace-up boots are actually my dad's that I got from him. It was his deer hunting boots, and I'm honored every time I wear those out fishing. It makes me think of him. But even though I Scotch guard them, inevitably water's going to get in there. These made all the difference for me. And I won't lie to you and pretend like I didn't put those hot hands in the bottom of my boots, so I did. But my feet stayed relatively warm, but certainly completely dry with these socks. Highly recommend you. Now, they're about half the price of seal skins because I priced them. But I tried to find something reasonably priced but well reviewed. And for me, this is a 5-star purchase. They run about 30 bucks. I'll be getting another pair soon for any cold weather fishing I do. Highly recommend them to you. All this stuff I'm going to share with you, I'm going to put in the description. I'm going to put a link to it all. The second piece of equipment that I think was important for me was something my neighbor let me borrow. Brent, shout out to you if you watch this video. He saw me getting ready to go fishing tomorrow, and he said, man, it's going to be cold. And I said, I know, I'm just going to layer up. And he said, well, I think I have something that you can use. I got for Christmas. Haven't even taken the tag off of it yet. And it was this AFTCO jacket. See if I can get the logo in there for you. This is the Reaper 3L Windproof jacket. And I want to talk a little bit about it. Now, I wore it underneath my hunting jacket, but I was able to take off my hunting jacket because of this thing. A few of the features that I love about this thing. Well, first of all, it has thumb holes in the sleeves. Now, why is that important? Well, for any of you who put on a jacket on top of something, you know it pulls your sleeves up. This allows you to put this on and then put your hands and arms through a sleeve without it having your sleeve right up. Very cool, well thought out. Secondly, these zippers are waterproof. So and this is a uni pocket, so it goes all the way across to the other zipper. Both zippers are waterproof, well designed. Also, ventilation in the underarms. Let's see if you can see the holes there. Yeah, and so, in other words, it allows you to breathe a little bit so you don't get too hot. Because it's possible to get too hot, and if you do that, you start sweating, then sweat gets cold, and then you really run into some issues. And then it has a built-in face mask. Actually, it's a built-in, it covered my ears and my face. So, kept the wind off of you, ventilated as well. You can see the holes in there. And then the hood fit right above right here on my fever hat and still allowed me to GoPro. Cinch it up if you need to. I didn't. And then a zipper on the side allows for easy getting in and out, helps you get in and out of it. This thing was waterproof. Well, I'll tell you, they don't say waterproof, they say water resistant or weather resistant. But my experience was water rolled right off of it. And hooks didn't catch in it as well. So anytime accidentally in the sleeve or something, I rub the hook, no issues there. These run $100 to $120, I believe. I'll put a link in the description, but man, thank you, Brent, for letting me use this. Phenomenal, phenomenal. I'll definitely be getting one of these. I wish Santa had brought me one as well. Can't recommend. I don't have any of this stuff, AFTCO brand stuff, but if this is any reflection of the quality of stuff they put out, I cannot recommend it enough. Definitely well worth having. And then, so that's what I did for the cold weather. I had gloves, obviously, and you know, it's hard to fish with gloves, but you know, I did it. So what did I use to catch fish? Well, I used, of course, I tried a lot of baits, but what I wound up eventually settling on that worked was, as many of you are familiar, let's see if I can get this in view for you. This is the Redfish Magic, Trout Magic. Excuse me. It's got that underblade on it, and it comes rigged up already, and I'm not going to take this one off, but I didn't use this color. I took this off, and what I did was I used the Salt Strong lure that I got with their sale for 11 lures for a penny a piece back a couple weeks ago, and this was the color that hit. This little pink paddle tail, and it worked very well. Now it has a hook slot on it, and I suppose that's for when you use it when the hook goes through. But I used it where the hook slot was on top, and so as it went through the water, it looked like this. And there's that with that little slot. What I did was I used this. And this is the Procure, see if I can get that in focus for you, Inshore Scent Super Gel. And in that little slot, I put that gel. And then I worked that lure. I let it sink all the way to the bottom. That hole that Sean and I found was 10, 12 feet. And I let it sink to the bottom, and I just slowly worked it. Sometimes just a real slow retrieve, sometimes a jerk and pause, and I was surprised to see that a couple of the ones I caught actually caught right at the boat, and I believe they were following it to see if it was trying to escape or what. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know fish strategy just yet, but this, along with the pink, I tried every color, and I tried everything that I had, and I have a lot of stuff. This is the one that hit for me finally. So I'll put a link to that in there as well. So what else? The wind was just tough yesterday. Really tough. North wind, I believe. And it was hard to fight. When we finally found that hole, you know, I wanted to park there. So anchor poles are, you know, a necessity in that situation. But for me, I will turn to a good old trusty micro power pole. I have this on a mount for this on the back of my kayak. Let's see if I can get that in the picture for you. And it's heavy, but it's well worth the weight. Now this can be hardwired, and I have that hooked to my battery in my kayak, or battery. And I used battery all day yesterday with it, and it just snaps on here. It comes with a button that you wear around your neck for up and down, and also it comes with a button you can mount in your kayak. Those connect by Bluetooth real easy. Your pole sits here, and so what I would do is, depending on which way the wind was coming, I would park so that the wind would make me point toward that hole, and I could cast into the deep hole. Now my ankle pole is only 8 feet, so I'd have to back out to 6, 7 feet of water, anchor down, let the current and the wind point me where I wanted to point, and then throw to that deep hole. So, gosh, I can't recommend it enough. It's an investment, though. It's definitely an investment. So, how do I sum up my first ever tournament? I had a blast. So thankful to be part of this group, and would I do it again? Absolutely. I believe next month is Sheep's Heads, and I enjoy that a lot. I've learned a lot about it, and so I'm definitely going to do that one. And I'll put a link to all this in the description. And I want to encourage you to find some friends to fish with. You won't regret it. And if you don't have one, then holler at your boy, and I'll take you fishing when I can. And so had a great time. And that's going to wrap up our video for today. I'll post some of the one video I have of catching a fish and some of the pictures. And I can't thank you enough. If you like the video and like what you see, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, click that notification bell so you'll know when we're posting. And this is me signing off. This is Chris, Kajun with a help. I messed up myself. I picked on somebody else for messing it up, but it's Kajun in a kayak. That's Kajun with a K, Kayak with a K. You know how we do. Thanks for watching.